So today we're going to talk about how to move beyond struggle and live more magically every day. Struggle is a state of mind. It's a state of being. And it's something that most people think we have no control over, that it's just the way of the world, that you have to get through struggle in order to, function in life. But the truth of the matter is struggle is a state of mind, and it is something that we've been taught and conditioned to believe in, and therefore if we believe it, it becomes our reality. And when we can change our beliefs and expand beyond struggle, we can change our reality as well. And that's what we're going to dive into in a few minutes. It says struggle is a state of mind. We've been conditioned to believe it's the way of the world and the backbone of being valuable within the world. Struggle keeps us feeling weak and disempowered. Choosing to empower yourself can lead you to a life worth living, a life free from the daily struggles. So it's important to understand, why do I struggle? Yes, it's conditioned. You're taught that's the way of the world. You're taught that that's, the best way to function. No pain, no gain. All the cliches that are out there. But that's not the most reason why people continue to struggle. One of the greatest reasons is because we've attached to the struggle a way to prove our sense of value. You know what? I'm a valuable person. Why? Because look how hard I work. Look how much I struggle. I had to go through college, and I had to put myself through college, or I had to do this, or I had to raise my child by myself. And all of that was a way to show the world I'm valuable, I matter. Now, certainly that isn't beautiful and it's wonderful, but it's not necessary, because you've been valuable your whole life, and you are worthy of, and you deserve love and success. You don't have to struggle as the payment plan in order to receive your abundance, in order to receive the grace of living your life. One of my teachers has always said, life is a gift from God, Goddess, all that is. Your challenge is to learn to receive the gift. And most people have difficulties receiving with grace, and learning how to receive gracefully, graciously, learning how to receive with gratitude and appreciation is a challenge for a lot of people, because we've been taught and conditioned that a person of value needs to earn and justify and validate whatever happens in their life. I've got to earn it. I can't just let it happen easily. I've got to struggle. I've got to work hard to prove my value. And that's part of the ego. That is the part that holds on to, that embraces and dances with struggle. And when you can realize and recognize, no, I am valuable, and I don't have to struggle to prove it. I'm not going to audition with struggle anymore. I'm not going to do that to myself. It's just not fair. And so that's one of the major reasons that people have difficulty or challenges or even struggle with their relationship with struggle, is because they're getting a sense of value from it. And if I don't have any other way of valuing myself, then I'm going to cling to struggle as my MO, my method of operandi. However, when you can own the fact that you are worthy, that you are inherently valuable because of who you are, hear that, not because of what you do, not because of how much education you got, not because of all the good deeds that you've done, but you are valuable, inherently worthy, because you are an expression and reflection of the divine. And that expression and reflection of the divine shows up, manifests itself as your soul and your spirit. Your soul connected to the divine, called the goddess, the feminine energy of the divine. And your spirit connected to God, the masculine energy of the divine. The state of the feminine is being, the state of being connected to the divine. And from that state of being, when you choose to align with your soul and spirit, rather than listening to the instruction, rather than listening to the dangling carrot of the ego that loves to struggle, when you can take your power back from that and you can choose to be in alignment with your spiritual nature, with the grace of the goddess, which means on a practical level, because people say, oh yeah, Michaiel, what does that mean, to be in alignment with the grace of the goddess? What that means is to be in alignment and to shift your values from struggle, of doing. Because when you're doing without being conscious of your being, which means I'm being suffering, I'm being in a place of martyrhood, I'm being a victim, I'm ignoring that. The ego says, oh, that stuff doesn't matter. Just go out there and do. Just go out there and produce. Just go out there and get the job done. Just do. Doesn't matter how you're being. Yes, it does. Because if I'm being with a state of consciousness of victim, then I'm going to struggle. When I'm being in a state of consciousness that is suffer and sacrifice and entitlement and better than arrogance and all this stuff that you've been taught and conditioned, it is going to influence the actions that you take. It's going to influence the results of the manifestation from those actions. And so it does matter, who am I going to be? And so being in alignment with the grace of the goddess is being in alignment with your soul. Likewise, being in alignment with the grace of God is being in alignment with your spirit. And your soul and spirit are very different energies, and they need to come together. They need to become one. What does that mean? That means that you, who are the guardian, you who are the consciousness through which houses this environment of your soul and spirit, you need to value both your feminine and masculine energy. You need to value your soul and your spirit equally, and they're very different. See, equal doesn't mean sameness. Oh, well, they're the same. No, they're not the same. They're different, and yet they're both valuable in different ways. It's just like, as I mentioned an analogy in a class last night, your heart is very different from your liver and from your brain, but they function together as one in this body unit to create a synergy of wholeness, to create a synergy where I can operate as a human being. Your brain isn't jealous of your liver. Your brain isn't trying to beat and pump like your heart. It's doing its function, and it respects the other organs, and together they create a synergy of wholeness that allows you to be who you are. Well, the same way with your soul and spirit. Your soul and spirit are not the same thing. Religion very rarely defines the soul and the spirit. They kind of mush them together to say, oh, it's soul, spirit's kind of the same thing. No, it's not. And how do I relate to my soul and spirit is where my power is found. The power of dominion, the power of magic, the power of miracles, the power of being at the right place at the right time, the power of synchronicity, the power of intuition to follow and guide, the power of listening to the whispers of life. That is the power. That is the power of your spirit and your soul. Now, if we don't connect and understand our true power, our spiritual power, then we opt out, we default, and we give our power away to our ego. And our ego is looking out there into the world and says, oh, power. What is powerful? Oh, power is having a lot of money. That's what power is. Power is having a lot of education. That's what power is. Power is knowing the right people. Power is dressing a certain way, wearing my power suit, wearing my power dress, wearing my power tie. It's all about the form and what it looks like on the illusion. And most people have adopted that definition of what power is, because you need a sense of power to be alive. You need to function in life, and you need to have a sense of power. And if you don't have the true power connected to soul and spirit, then you're going to have a substitute power from your ego. And that power is a power called domination, because the ego feels separate, disconnected from life. The ego feels separate and disconnected from all that is. And so therefore, to feel safe, it has to dominate. It has to control. It has to manipulate to get what it wants. I got to convince everybody. I've got to make this happen out of fear, out of being separate, out of being alone. And so, as you unravel the foundation of struggle, it begins by understanding how you've given your power away to the ego and to begin to take it back. Now, you're not going to do it overnight. It's not going to happen, okay, I'm going to take my power back from my ego, one fell swoop. No. It takes time and energy. You realize, yeah, I'm giving my power away in my relationships. Oh, yeah, I'm giving my power away here in my finances. Here, I'm giving my power away in my work, my career, or my communication, or whatever it is. And you start to take it back. You start to retrieve it, and you become more empowered. Because as you take that attention away from domination, you can give it to your soul and your higher self and your spirit to guide you and to align to the power of dominion. And when you do, this power is about connection. This power is about knowing that the world is a friendly place there to love and support you. This power connected to soul and spirit is inexhaustible, where the power of the ego is limited. The power of the ego is measured by what I've got and what I've done and what I have. That's what makes me powerful. Look, I got a big house, and I've got a big car, and I've got a boat, and I've got this, and I've got that. See, aren't I powerful? Well, yeah, until the next earthquake happens, and that all goes away, then suddenly you're powerless again. Because, see, stuff doesn't make you powerful. It can be a reflection, it can be a symbol of your status, but it's not your power. The power dwells within. You are born powerful. Because you are born and breathed into you a soul with its spirit. You are breathed into you the essence of the divine. And there's where the magic and dominion and your true power resides. But you know what? As you came into the physical world, you wanted to discover yourself. So you created the contrast of being powerless. And you come in as this little infant in this little tiny body. It's like a cocoon, that little infant. It doesn't even look like a human shape half the time. It's just a little weird thing, right? This little infant. And when you look at yourself as in pictures of an infant from who you are today, it's like, how did this happen? How did I become who I am today? And all the stages of that growth. Very unique, very different. But as you come in the infantile stage, you are totally dependent upon mother and father and environment and food and shelter. And you are totally feeling powerless. You're not powerless, but you have that awareness. And so you start the journey of disempowerment. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. It wasn't a mistake. And one of the greatest reasons is it's a part of the journey of separating and forgetting so that you can discover who you are and who you choose to be. And in order to choose something, you have to have options. So one option is I'm going to choose either to let my ego, which is on the first half of your journey, the guide that takes you forward, that says, okay, well, how do you get through school? I've got to get education. If I'm going to survive in this world, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and all those things which you had to do. And yet you get to a point when you realize there's still something missing. I don't still feel happy or alive or vibrant or passionate. I've gone through all the necessary steps that my ego has guided me to. And there's still something missing. And your ego always, when it's left unattended, when it's been left ignored and denied, without having the benefit of being healed and matured, that ego always feels it's not enough. No matter what I do, what I say, who I'm with, how much money's in the bank, it's never enough. Because your ego knows it's not enough to make your life work. That you need to make a choice, you need to make a decision at some point in your life to tap into the genuine power that's always been there, that you have forgotten and perhaps even lost from the pain of your past. But you can find it, and you can remember the truth of your power, the power of being and doing. But not a being and doing from the ego, a being of the presence of soul and the action of spirit, the masculine energy, the purified masculine feminine within every human being, regardless of your gender. So that's the journey that allows you not only to move beyond struggle, but it's the journey that taps you into a new resource of magic. Now, you've all heard me talk a lot about magic. And I'm not talking about wizards, and I'm not talking about the Harry Potter, and I'm not talking about witchcraft. I'm talking about the magic of your being. And what is magic? The definition is magic is changing reality, changing your reality in compliance with your will, which is what? Your will is your choice. The willpower to make a choice. That I choose for this to happen and it manifests. I choose for this to take place and it happens. That's magic. Well, everyone, even those who have disempowered, in meaning that they've taken the path and listened to their ego, they are creating their reality and they are using magic. They are aligning reality to conform to their will, to their consciousness. Meaning that if I have a belief system and an attitude and a belief of struggle, an attitude and belief of powerlessness, of being a victim, then I'm going to formulate certain thoughts and feelings. And from those thoughts and feelings, I'm going to have certain opportunities present themselves as choice. And all these choices, I'm going to decide this is what I need to do. But all of it is a wellspring of belief, attitude, thoughts, and feelings that generate and create your experiences. That's why two different people, two different siblings in the same family can have very different realities, because each one of them is creating their own reality. It's not the same. It's not your environment that causes you. It's your consciousness, your interpretation of what happens in your childhood and what it means about you, that determines how you have an image, how you hold an image of yourself, and how you relate to the world. And when you can change your consciousness, your reality will change. It's magic. Because your consciousness is your will. And on some level, you've chosen to let yourself remain a victim, to be a victim, to choose to remain powerless because you haven't retrieved your power, because it's familiar, because it's a way of the world. I got a lot of people to back me up. And so, the journey of magic and being magical is something that you can do unconsciously to create often what you don't want. As I've talked about in other classes, the martyr, which is the sophisticated form of a victim, the martyr is usually born in your adolescence. When the child in you is the victim and poor me and always talking to everybody about what's wrong, the silent sufferer is the adolescent that, okay, nobody understands me. What's the point of even talking about it? I'll just silently suffer and get through the day and heave and sigh all day long. What's wrong? Oh, nothing's wrong. The silent martyr, the sufferer. But they create reality. They attract reality. They create events to feel sorry for themselves. Things that don't work out. Poor health, more pain, more frustration, the loss of success, the loss of the job. They will create and conform reality to comply to their will, their consciousness. Now, they don't realize that they can change it. But when you do realize you can change it, I can change my consciousness, then I have greater power. And I can choose the empowered path. And that's what the greatest challenge is. Because in order to have everything you desire in your life, from inner peace to greater happiness and joy, to productive and meaningful work, to deep, lasting, fulfilling relationships, all hinges upon who you are and who you are choosing to be in the moment throughout your day. Am I going to choose to function and be powerful, or am I going to default and pretend and believe a lie that I'm powerless? Each of them create different experiences in your life. And when you've been functioning, feeling disempowered, when you start to take your power back, You start to own it. You have the resources of your soul and spirit at hand. But when you choose to be a victim, to be powerless, you're also making the choice of turning your back against receiving love, receiving help, because that is what the grace of power does. The true power of your soul and spirit co-creates. Where the power of the ego says, no, I'll do it myself. I want all the credit. I'm not going to co-create. I'll do it myself. And therefore you are isolating yourself and perpetuating that feeling of being disconnected and alone. The journey is so important. The journey towards being empowered. It is essential. And I know from my own life experience of how much I struggled growing up and trying to discover myself and understand myself and feeling completely powerless, being a complete martyr and creating all kinds of stuff I didn't want happening. But it wasn't until I recognized I'm the one responsible here. I'm the one that's the common denominator between everything going wrong in my life and all the relationships that didn't work and all the things that happened and avalanched and the lack of success in different areas and all that. When I could finally take responsibility and own it, I'm the common denominator in my life. Maybe I'm the creator of it. Not by always causing it to happen, but by allowing it and attracting it as well. And when you can shift from that to take responsibility, so important, the first step to being powerful is to respond, to take responsibility. I'm going to respond to my power that's always been there, that's been repressed and denied and hidden and shoved down because I've got to be a victim and pretend that I'm powerless. But when I can take that power back and open up to it and stand in it and function from it, then you can work magic exponentially. Then life works. You're at the right place at the right time. You meet and synchronize. You put a thought out there, oh, I'd like for this to happen, and bam, it manifests. Life becomes free from struggle. Free from struggle. And even when there's challenges in your life, you're not struggling with them. You meet the challenge head on, knowing that you're more powerful than any challenge that you can face. And so therefore, I don't have the answer yet. I'm not quite sure how to resolve this, but I can confide in myself. I can be confident in who I am as a spiritual being, that I will find the way and I will create resolution. And this malady I will heal. This situation I will change. I'm not going to say, well, I hope I will. One day, maybe. Let's wait and see what happens. That's giving your power away. No, you create your own reality. And that's the premise and the foundation from which being powerful emerges. It's the foundation in which you can let go of struggle and begin to live more magically every day. So magic is something that everyone is working, either unconsciously or consciously. And when you're conscious of it, you can direct that magic to comply with your will, with your love, with your imagination. And that's the process. It's the process of the first step. Not only to move beyond struggle, is to retrieve and to own and to know your power. The power and the grace of your soul. And the light and the freedom and the light and the freedom of your spirit. And when they come together, when you value your soul and your spirit equally, when you value your feminine and masculine energy equally, and here we are, another conflict in consciousness is that you were born into the world, you were born and conditioned to believe that the masculine is superior to the feminine. It's somehow better than, it's somehow stronger than, it's somehow whatever than. And that's the condition of chauvinism that is part of what cripples you from accessing your true power. Because you believe a lie. You believe that women are weak, feminine energy is weak, women aren't good enough, and that's just not true. Now, beyond women, that representation of feminine energy, all the components that make up the feminine energy, which is connected to your soul, are also devalued and discounted and repressed or denied, or I don't have time for that, or it's demonized. Religion has demonized a lot of what Eve did to humankind. It's all her fault. She bit from the apple, right? And she's going to be punished for eternity. And it's just sad, because it's a belief system that has been on our planet for many thousands of years. And we're now at a place of being fully conscious as a humanity where we can make a new choice. And as you choose to see the value of both the feminine and masculine, very different, not the same. Equal doesn't mean the same. Equal means equally valuable, equally important, equally significant, equally empowered by you. And that means the feminine energy, whether you're male or female, the feminine energy and the grace in the space and the grace of your imagination is part of your feminine energy. And out of that, the light and the clarity of action called willpower, the true willpower, born of imagination, the willpower of spirit, clean, clear, knowing and decisive of what you want, without self-doubt, without questioning, without wondering what will the neighbors think, but knowing your choice, your decision, clean and clear from your spirit, is the masculine energy that needs to be equally valued as the feminine, and the feminine equally valued as the masculine. And when you do, they can come together and they can connect. And that's when the power arises. That's when the magic and miracles happen. But we have, as an ego, we have dissected and said either or. In the world of duality, it's understandable. Men are different than women. Men are separate from women. But in reality, in consciousness, they're inside of you. The energy of feminine and masculine exists within every human being, regardless of your gender. And when you can bring together your passion, which is feminine, passion, and compassion, which is masculine, when you bring those two together, there's a synergy. Desire is feminine. To have a desire. And what a lot of the religious teachings are, don't have any desires, right? Buddhism, different ones, don't have to. No, the secret to moving beyond struggle is to get rid of your desires. Don't have any desire. Don't have any expectation. Well, the problem is you create your reality with desire, imagination, and expectation. So even the fact that I desire to have no desire is a desire. I want to get rid of my desire. Well, that's a desire. You can't get rid of you have desire. But because it's feminine, it's considered weak and less than. Oh, your desires get you in trouble. Oh, especially those sexual desires are going to lead you astray, or all these different things. So desire, like the feminine energy, has been judged and repressed. But desire is something that you can't get rid of. You have it all the time. You desire to come home. You desire to grow. To come home to God, God is all that is. You desire to grow. You desire to become more. You desire to understand and seek to understand yourself. These are desires of your soul and your spirit. You can't get rid of them. So the grace and nature of your soul and spirit are found and connected through your relationship with your feminine and masculine energy, regardless of gender. You have an imagination, you have passion, you have desire, you have feelings, emotion, feelings. Your feelings are feminine. Your thinking is masculine. But which one in the world do people favor? Do they say, you made a big mistake at work. Go home and feel about it. No, go home and think about it and figure out what you did wrong, right? Let's think about it, figure it out. Don't feel. But feeling is your power. And you see, there's a container that holds thoughts and feelings called emotion. Emotion is the container that holds your thoughts and your feelings. And dysfunctional emotions is when you've elevated the thinking and denigrated the feeling. And that function of that emotion gets twisted and gets distorted and starts to drain your life force energy. But when you can think and feel equally, to turn your thinking towards your feelings instead of having your thinking do everything to avoid your feelings. But no, I want to turn and think about, what am I feeling? How does this make me feel? So I can heal it, so I can resolve it, so I can tap into the energy there and retrieve the energy. If I'm feeling angry, let me go into the anger and take the energy out of it. Not the anger, the energy, the life force, the neutral energy that's supplying it, my energy that's trapped inside my anger. Let me retrieve it and release and deal with that anger so I can resolve it. And then I get back into a place of being at peace. So emotions are a container. And that container holds both masculine and feminine energy. You're thinking, every thought you think is connected to a feeling, and every feeling you have is connected to a thought. But you can choose to try to separate them and to deny them. You can choose to judge them. Oh, feelings are bad. Feelings are weak. Feelings are what women do. They're feminine. Let's judge them. Let's repress them. Let's make them bad and wrong. And therefore, you just handicap yourself, because you will always struggle when you do not have a healthy relationship with your emotional nature. So moving beyond struggle and activating the magic of your being is about honoring and valuing the nature and grace of your true power, which is your soul and your spirit. And your soul is connected to the goddess, and your spirit is connected to God. And the way to live your spirituality and to breathe it and to bring it into the physical world is through your relationship with your feminine and masculine energy, regardless of gender. That means my relationship to my imagination. It's just your imagination. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't daydream. Don't fantasize. Don't daydream. Don't imagine. Devalued. Yet, Albert Einstein said imagination is more powerful than knowledge, because the feminine energy is power. The feminine energy is power. True power. Genuine power. Not the ego's version of power. See, the ego's judging your feminine energy as, oh, that's weak, that's wrong, that's, Eve screwed up everything for the rest of the planet on the biblical Christian Judeo ethic. And it's all her fault, and therefore feminine energy is bad, and it's been demonized. Oh, that's the devil. Your imagination. Don't open your mind. You might let the devil in. Just follow the rules and just do what you're told and be a good little boy, a good little girl. Another part of the feminine energy is your intuition. Your intuition that connects to your logic and reason, your intellect. Intellect is masculine, intuition is feminine. But again, in the world, which one is more valuable? At work, do they say, well, follow your intuition, follow your heart? No, they're like, logic and reason. What's the most logical thing? What's the most reasonable thing we do? And again, it's not either or. Don't get me wrong. It's not about, let's just do intuition and get rid of that logic and reason. Logic and reason is now bad. The masculine is now bad. No, it's not. But when it's in balance and in harmony with your feminine energy, with intuition, and when your willpower, your actions are linked and connected to your imagination, and when your compassion is connected to your passion, when your action is connected to your desires, and when your thoughts are connected to your feelings, they come together and they give birth to a synergy of power beyond anything you can imagine. And it's the force of power that takes no action. It's the force of being powerful by your presence, by your thoughts, by your feelings, without having to exert a lot of force, without having to struggle to force things to change. No, reality changes by choice. Empowered choice. Not any choice. Because I can hear some of you saying, well, Michaiel, I choose to be abundant, I choose to get healthy, and I make the choice. But am I standing in my power and strength when I'm making that choice? Or am I standing in my self-pity? I'm saying all the affirmations, I love myself, I love myself. Well, have you thought about why you love yourself? Well, I was just told to say it and my life would change. It's not enough to just say the words. There's no magic in the words. There's magic in you. And when you stand in the magic of your power, of your soul and spirit, the true magical power of your nature, when you go back into alignment with that, then the choices that you make that are in alignment with your soul and spirit, not your ego, you make a choice and bam, things happen. You make a choice, and that choice exponentially creates change. And you see, you don't want your choices to create exponential change until you're in alignment with your soul and spirit, until you're in alignment with your true power. Because if you're in alignment with your disempowered self, your ego, that's bitching and complaining and says life's a bitch and then you die, and you make a choice in that, look out. Exponentially your reality would change into a nightmare. You wouldn't want that to happen. So you protect yourself by allowing time and space to happen between the choices that you think and make and the reality you create. And again, choice isn't just one-sided. How do I choose? Who am I being? Listen to that. Who am I being when I'm making this choice? Am I being powerful or disempowered? Because if I'm disempowered making a choice, then guess what? That choice is it's totally canceled. It's disempowered. But if I'm powerful and I own my power, not the power of the ego of domination, the power over, the power to control, but the power that comes from within that I have forgotten and I'm now remembering, the power that comes together from what I once lost that I have now found, the power of the soul and the spirit, the power of your presence, of your being. And in that state of being powerful, I make a choice and decision, and the magic happens. Things come into place. You meet the right person. You don't have to go out and struggle to make life happen anymore. I know that sounds like, oh, that sounds so far-fetched. It's not. It's not. And there's a saying, magic is only available to those who believe in it. And you can choose to believe in it or not. And if you don't believe in it, you will still use your magic to create a reality as if magic didn't work for you. That's how powerful magic is. You can use it to disprove its existence if you choose to believe it doesn't work, or that you don't have the right, or you're not entitled to it, or it's only good for other people. I'm the exception because of my past, because of my upbringing, because of blah, 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 blah. You can become the exception, but you give up a lot of your empowered destiny in that choice. Introduction to what your relationship with struggle, connected to the disempowered self that has nobilized it into, oh, look how valuable I am, look how great I am because I struggle. That's a belief system, but the price you pay is your stress. The price you pay is hardship. The price you pay is working, your fingers to the stone, grinding yourself to a pulp, trying to get through life because you believe that's all you deserve. And yet I'm here to say you deserve better. You deserve to remember and reconnect with who you truly are, a powerful and majestic spiritual being. And when you do, your life will change. And it will change in harmony with your empowered destiny, who you're meant to be. And there's going to be a destiny that you follow. There's going to be one. It's not like, oh, what's this destiny stuff? It's your future. It's the unknown of your future. Most people say, well, let me wait and see what happens. That's what the disempowered person does. But an empowered person says, no, let me consciously create my future. Let me choose. Well, what am I going to choose? I can't choose what's going to happen, Michaiel. No, but you can choose who you're going to be. And from that state of being powerful, a certain reality will open up to you. When you choose to be disempowered, another reality opens up to you. Well, which one do I choose? Whichever one you decide upon. Because being powerful is always a conscious choice. Now, I'm not talking about the power of the ego. That's default. I'm talking about the true power. And when you make that choice to be powerful, owning your power that's always been there, picking it up, rekindling it, and accessing and utilizing it. When you do that, guess what? Your soul and spirit celebrate They're finally going to choose to be powerful. They're finally going to get their life together. They're finally going to realize that they create it all. And now we can really help them to manifest their dreams and desires. But when you're functioning disempowered and feeling sorry for yourself, you cannot let in magic and miracles. You just can't do it. It's the wrong vibration. It's not going to attract. And yet people often think that magic and miracles will come from, being backed in the corner, and when things go really bad and really wrong and finally a miracle happens. Very rare occasions is it that your soul will intercede in those situations because you're choosing to create it. But there's times that it does, and it will. There's no black and white. It's not like they never or they always. No. There's the mystery of the soul and the spirit. Only God is all that is, knows why and how miracles take place. But let me promise you one thing. When you are functioning as an empowered spiritual being, and when you are connected consciously, valuing the grace of your soul and the light and freedom of your spirit, when you value them equally, and they come together and they give birth to wholeness within you, they give birth to your own sense of power born in dominion, the power of who you are, not what you have and do. Guess what? Then the grace of magic and miracles become a daily event. You live and you flow in this whole different reality. And that I can guarantee you, because I've been in both worlds. And I knew, and I had to pay the price, and I had to understand, and then I figured out how to move into the world of dominion to create with magic and miracles. And guess what? I can still go back into domination. I can still do that. But why would I? When I have the choice. It's not the events that take place in the world that force me to do anything. I always can choose to have dominion over who I'm going to be. And that is something that when you choose to be empowered, you open up to that future. And that future starts to flow energy into your present moment. And when you choose not to own your power, to be disempowered, to believe the lie that you were taught and conditioned to believe, then that opens up the world of struggle and disempowerment. So you're going to be in one of those two worlds. And most of you are already in the world of disempowerment and in the world of struggle. I was there for many, many years. And so I understand it, and I have compassion for you being there, because it's scary. What scares you more is how powerful you are than how powerless you are. What scares you more is how loving and majestic you are as a spiritual being. That frightens you. That's unknown. That's hard to handle. I don't know how will I say things? How will I function? How will I be? I know how to be a victim. I know how to sit and bitch and complain. I know how to give my power away. I've been doing it my whole life. It's familiar. And in that familiarity, there's a sense of safety. Don't rock the boat, Michaiel. Don't force me to be different. I'm not. I won't. And I can't. I can't make you powerful. It's a self-given job. You have to decide it for yourself. I can inspire you. I can tell you the steps. I can tell you the principles. I can tell you how to get there. I can give you a map. But you have to follow the map. You have to embrace and recognize that you deserve it. I wish I could give you that, but I can't. And nobody could give it to me either. But when you do, when you really own and step into, this is what I'm destined to do. That's part of my destiny. Who am I going to be? And that's always a free will choice. It doesn't matter what I'm going to do. What am I going to, my destiny is, tell me what my destiny is, Michaiel. Once in a while I'll get a consultation with somebody that'll say that. I'll say, well, what do you want it to be? I want to be happy. Okay, well, what does that mean to you? Because what makes me happy may not make you happy. I love to travel. You may hate to travel. So it's like, again, these big, you got to break it down into something that's real. But you don't have to figure out what you're going to do or where you're going to live or what you're going to have, because everything hinges upon who you're going to be. And when you choose to be powerful, you open up to all the possibilities of having, doing, and experiencing things that make you feel more powerful and more alive and more connected to life, especially when that power is connected to the dominion of your soul and spirit. Likewise, when you do not do that and you default into the power of the ego, which is domination, that's going to open you up into a disempowered world of being separate, alone, struggling, nose to the grindstone, shoulder to the wheel, let me get through life. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's going to be the opportunities available to you. So both exist. It all hinges upon the greatest power that you have. Choice. Choice. That's why people think money is power. Did you know that? Why do people think money is powerful? People with money are powerful. Well, it's not money. Money's green paper on ink. It's just this paper stuff. It's made up. It's different colors in different countries. It's plastic. It's a trick of light. It's not real. What is real about money is that it expands your choices. And choice is powerful. So therefore, money is seen as being powerful, but it's the choice. And you don't have to have money to make a choice. You can be penniless and still make a choice. You can choose who you're going to be. And in the journey of empowerment, to be a person with awareness that accepts themselves with worth, with esteem, with love, with confidence, with respect, and to realize who you are is the journey of empowerment. And it all hinges upon a choice that you make about your future. So exciting. This journey of moving beyond struggle. And it is an option available to all of us. But the number one reason people don't do it, the number one reason is that they have equated struggle with, as the ego in them has equated struggle with trying to prove that they're valuable. And yet, it's not necessary to do that. It's not necessary to struggle. Can you imagine your life to be free from struggle? Where every morning you're full of joy and appreciation and gratitude and things happen. You're at the right place at the right time. You bump into somebody and all this opens and unfolds and life becomes the adventure of love, of freedom, of abundance, of joy. That paradigm exists and it's calling you to come join it. It's calling you to open up to finding and discovering your true power.